Hello, everyone. Hi, how are you? I'm Rosalind Booker, Rosby, as Rosby, principal broker of Arbrook Realty, and we are a full service real estate company here in the North Texas area. Also, director of Arbrook Cares, our 501c3. Our goal is to help more renters become homeowners. We have a power packed team today. Welcome, welcome, welcome to NAREB's. Oh, wow. Creating pathways to home ownership. And we have a wonderful, accredited expert, a wonderful speaker today. He is absolutely a delight and a treat. And look, everybody needs to be on the edge of their seat because he is the person that every buyer and seller, we're hanging on everything that he is talking about. All roads lead to the appraisal. So
Yeah.
we have Mr. Marcus Hill, but we're going to circle back and allow Chris to introduce him. But anyway, if you have any real estate needs, or if you'd like to partner with our organization to collaborate to empower and inspire more people to become homeowners, you can reach us at 469-750-8495. And I'm going to pun it and introduce the Lone Lioness. Drum roll.
Hello, everybody. Glad you guys can join us again on today. I am Rhonda Hutchison. I am a residential mortgage lender. I'm powered by Paramount Residential Mortgage Group, and I'm known as the Lone Lioness. I'm excited to be a part of the show again on today. Thank you guys for joining us because you're in for a treat. We always talk about everything in lending, but we sometimes forget about the most crucial person in this decision making in the home buying process is the appraiser. But if you have any lending questions or any lending needs, I give me a call at 214-856-3747, and that's 214-856-3747. And once again, I'm Rhonda Hutchison, the Lone Lioness. Mr.
Hey
Chris.
guys, I'm Chris Ziegler with the Ziegler Agency Allstate, located in Frisco, Texas, serving the DFW Metroplex and the whole state of Texas, and also a crucial part of the home buying process. The appraisal is the home insurance. So you definitely need that when you're trying to get a home because a lot of times, I guess I can say this on the air,
You
we're the
can.
bastard child of the home buying process a lot of times, and people forget about us until, I won't say it's too late, but sometimes we have to do a little maneuvering to make sure we get things back on track. We have to hold it down for the insurance game. But once again, I'm
Absolutely.
Chris Ziegler with the Ziegler Agency Allstate, and I can be reached at 214-870-4269. And without further ado, I'm going to talk to Marcus Hill. And not only importantly, he's an appraiser and a crucial part of that process, but he's a member of the illustrious Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated as well. So, that's huge, as y'all know.
I know for you, Chris.
Yeah, that's probably top of the line, right? We know.
But I'm excited to have Marcus, my fraternity brother, on here. But he's a sharp individual, and I don't want to say too much about his story, his journey, because he can do that for himself and everything. And once I get through praying here, we'll go ahead and get started. Let Marcus tell us more about himself and introduce himself, because you got like Ross said, hold on to your seats. We're gonna have a power
Ooh,
pack.
hold on.
Yeah,
Let's close our eyes.
I'm holding on, y'all.
So you want to be acting up in church? I'm trying to pray, and you up there talking. Hold on, let's pray. Heavenly Father, we first and foremost thank you for letting us be in your presence. We thank you, dear God, for all the blessing you bestow upon us on a day-to-day basis. We know you're the true architect and designer of everything that happens to us on a day-to-day basis. We ask not you only bless us, but this platform, but our family and friends and people who don't and are able to hear this show today, dear God. And hopefully they can look at it later on to be a part of this platform so they can see what we do and to hopefully can better themselves to get to a point to where they need to be in the home buying process. We ask that you watch over anybody, dear God, who might be going through any kind of trials or tribulations or any obstacles that may be for them. We know through the blood of Jesus Christ, your Son, that we can navigate through all these things through you. These are blessings in your Son's name we pray. Amen. So, Mr.
Amen.
Marcus, go ahead and take it away, brother.
What up, y'all? First off, I just want to say thank you guys so much for having me today. I really appreciate it. I've attended a few NAREB events. It's been amazing. I definitely love to connect with each and every one of you guys, and just want to just say thank you for the opportunity. So, I am from Little Rock, Arkansas. Love my city of Little Rock, Arkansas. Love it. That's where I got my start. Honestly, I didn't grow up in the best neighborhood. There was a lot of drama, a lot of things that were unfortunate that I experienced as a young man. But hey, that's where you got your start. Just got to keep rolling, and I believe that's where my motivation came from. Just kind of being around a lot of different things. But um, so outside of high school, one goal of mine coming up as a young man was to graduate college. And uh, I went off to the University of Arkansas where I went to college. And once I accomplished my goal, I thought about, hey, I could do anything. I set out one goal and I did it. Not one, not to get one, but 2 degrees. And so um, so coming out of college, I was thinking to myself, hey, okay, what do I want for me? So I wanted to make money. I wanted to be on my own time. I wanted to impact my community some type of way. And then I just wanted to be able to provide, for myself if I ever had a family or anything like that. And so, because I accomplished my goal, it allowed me to be open. And so, um, literally, I graduated 1 month and got an opportunity to start training as a real estate appraiser trainee. Like literally the next month I graduated college, and it's just such a crazy thing because you know uh, I'm 23, 24 years old. Most people at that age are kind of just trying to figure out themselves, but I literally was in the industry, training as an appraiser, and so I was on my way to law school. That's what I initially wanted to do, but the summer I just put all my efforts into appraising once I got introduced to it, and was able to actually start my own company at 26 years old, when the average age in America today is 50 years old, and so I'm just so grateful that I had that opportunity. I had that
That's awesome.
mindset, but it was just more passion, and so learning how to do appraisal things was just amazing to me. You got to learn how to measure a property. You got to learn how to pull comps. You got to learn how to make adjustments. Also, you
Mhm.
have to learn the business side of working with banks and mortgage companies. So, I was so thankful to be able to learn all of that in a short period of time. I guess I learned it all in 2 years. And so, but it was just because I was so passionate, and I really enjoyed what I was doing. And um, I'm just so thankful today to be almost in the industry, almost 20 years. And uh,
That's amazing.
And you don't look a day over 19.
eight, eight.
No, he should. He really doesn't. He really
So,
Hey,
doesn't.
we must be kin.
and, so it's funny you say 19 because I had a whole appraisal company at 26, and actually, going to go knock on people's doors and them, seeing me and me telling them that I'm here to do an appraisal was, I'm looking like I'm about 19 there, so so it's funny you say that. But yeah, that's kind of my story, and it's somewhat like no other, and just so grateful and thankful to God for giving me all the opportunity and like just the mindset to want to get into something where you don't see a lot of young African American men.
Yes, well, thank you so much, Marcus, for sharing a little bit of your story and where you come from. It's very inspirational. And, before we get off, we definitely want to share, how people can connect with you, from a career wise and, just what you're doing and how you're partnering with others. So, as far as real estate is concerned, it is a crazy time. You've been in the industry a couple of decades. I've been in a couple of decades or more. Chris has been around the block, and Miss Rhonda is
I'm
an
a baby.
expert in her field. Yes, so gosh, we've seen quite a bit. Was I survived the 9/11, 2007 and 8, so it was very much a buyer's market back then, and now it flipped to a seller's market. Now what we think we're seeing is some stabilizing or correcting, but I tell you, you are. What you do in terms of an appraiser is very, very important because you make or break the deals.
Yes,
No
sir.
pressure, no pressure, but
No
you
pressure.
actually make and break the deals. There's either a very, 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 very happy seller or a very, very unhappy buyer, and likewise. So, first questions that we want to ask, because there's a lot of things, myths to debunk, and there's a lot of truths to affirm here. So, first things first, because one of the first things that sellers usually try to pin me in a corner and say, well, price per square foot. This home sold for this amount, price per square footage. That's what the appraiser's going to say. That's what they're going to look at. Is price per square foot the single most highly weighted attribute that you use to evaluate homes?
Of course not.
Yeah. I love
There
attributes.
it is. There you
No,
have
honestly, you know, the appraiser's job is to find what that value is. What the highest amount that property may sell in a typical market. So basically, appraisals are looking at sales. Whatever anything sells at price per square foot, that's fine. It may be a neighborhood or two around, or it's just that's fine. The more agents look at that, um, I think the agent and homeowner, you guys talk about that amongst, when you guys are talking about deals and listing price and all of that. Appraisers are trying to find what's the highest sale in the neighborhood, or what's the most comparable sale that property will be compared to. And so price per square foot, in my opinion, just my opinion. Oh, first off, these are my opinions and do not represent any other entity as well. So
Okay,
just
thank
want to
you.
throw
Your
that out
disclaimer,
there.
right? Your disclaimer.
But no, so literally,
So, are
it's
you
just an
saying,
opinion.
Marcus, that you, as an appraiser, don't go look at, let me find homes with this price per square foot in MLS, but rather, is it that you back into that number
Well,
and it ends up
it's more about what's comparable and what the most comparable property that you're going to compare that to, and what it's.
well, define comparable? So, if
Uh,
price per square foot is not it, are you talking about aesthetically, like number of bedrooms, bathrooms?
yes.
Oh, okay.
So typically in a neighborhood, the appraiser is going to find the most comparable property in design, appeal, bed count, square footage, age. And so that is whatever that market price of comparable, that's the most comparable comp. And so that's why you can't really look at price per square foot, because it's different. It's different price per square foot in neighborhoods and subdivisions. So, but from the appraiser point of view, they're looking at what is the most probable price, what's the most probable comparable that this property is going to sell at, and whatever that is, that number is, that's what they're going to use. And so, I don't. If you look at, on an appraisal, you have to electronically sign every one. So, you know, I don't know if appraisers going to want to go to court if they have to do like some type of, uh, um, you know, thing where they have to go explain their value in the court of law and them tell them, oh, well, I base my value on price per square foot. No, you have to pretty much base your value on what's sold in the neighborhood. And so, so it's just a different kind of mindset, when you
Gotcha.
come in with value.
Yeah,
Now,
Marcus, I got a question for you,
Go
real
ahead.
quick.
Hmm.
What about, people get pools and these outdoor living areas and gazebos? You hear people say that doesn't add much value to the house. Is it kind of similar to what you just said? It just depends on where you are. How big of a factor is that?
It's a factor, but it's all about what homes are selling for with pools.
Ah,
That's most comparable to that.
not because it has a pool.
Mm.
What
You know,
home? Yeah.
even with adjustment, even with upgrades, and a lot of people, in my opinion, I would recommend people go talk to an appraiser or a realtor before they make any kind of upgrade to their property, because you can go run into a situation where you spent all this money for this type of pool, but if you did your homework, you would know that, okay, I need to cap off at this amount because other homes in the neighborhood are selling with pools at this amount, and this is the value that I'm gonna probably be around.
Yeah, period.
Period. So
That's
so
good.
that's a thing that I do recommend when I talk to people about things. So it just basically goes off what's the data, because the market can change any day.
Any day.
And so,
Right.
you can't really base it off price per square foot, or with adjustments. You can't just say, "Oh, just because I got a pool, that's going to add another 30,000 in value." Well, you can do it if you have comps that support that.
Gotcha.
So, but in a typical day to day, I would always do your homework on things that you're gonna, do to your home.
Gotcha.
I
So
got a question for you. I
go
got a
ahead.
question for you. And I know, especially when you're getting a new build or you're moving into a neighborhood and you say, "Oh, I have this big corner lot.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I got this." So I know when I sell my home, I'm gonna get more because I'm on this corner that has a large backyard. Is it true that land is excluded and it does not count when you're actually, I guess, when appraisal is looking at value when it comes to the land
No,
or the
no,
lot?
no. The lot is considered too. It's on the appraisal report.
Okay.
It's lot size. But when you look at corner lots, now that is something more of a buyer appeal. A buyer may pay more than they would pay for a lot that's not a corner lot. It's just going to depend when the appraisal comes. If that is around what it's trying to sell for, but it's a buyer, added thing, if you have a corner lot, and so they may take that in consideration, but and may find other homes in the neighborhood that have corner lots and see what they sell for. So it's basically really all on data.
On data. Okay.
You
Okay.
got to take your emotions and mindset out of it. It's what's supported. What can you support? And so,
What can be supported? Right.
yes.
Yeah.
So I keep hearing you say whether a home has a pool, whether it's on a corner lot or an acre lot, it's whatever is comparable in that neighborhood, not that you automatically add a certain dollar amount because it has this item.
And,
So has that never been true?
well, appraisers they go through schooling and training. So it's, you know, uh, I feel most appraisers go that direction. They're trying to find what's most comparable to the subject. And so whatever homes are most comfortable with selling with pools, that's your data. That's
Okay.
what's justified it. That's what's supported.
I had a question and I know we're moving on. It's like I feel like, double dutch, jump rope. I feel like let me get my question in. Let me get in. Let me get in. But because this is so important, especially in my job. So I know we are, and you tell us, Mr. Marcus, are we decreasing in value where houses are below market now, like plummeting, or are you seeing correction?
Well, rates are going higher than what they typically have been, which they're probably where they probably are getting back to where they probably should have been. But you know, you really the market changes every day, but how you can really kind of see if prices are changing is the listing history. Because in most markets, let's take the DFW market, you rarely have seen probably a lot of listings on the market within a neighborhood. And so I feel like, the way you can tell if things are changing or adjusting is by the uptick of listings. And so, I mean, you can tell me yourself, most neighborhoods, have you seen many listings typically over the past 6 to 8 months? in a lot of areas. I mean, you probably seen a
Well,
lot
I
of
think
sales.
we're still short. It depends
Yeah,
on the price range,
yeah,
Marcus, for me.
totally.
Yeah. So I see you being really careful with your
Well,
answer.
it's funny you say that. Because one thing I've noticed, like I said, just going to different parts of Collin County and Denton County, one thing I've noticed, it used to be when people put those signs up, like a realtor to put a sign up, shoot, they put up that day, 2 days later, maybe later on that day, or the next day, it was gone. But lately, I've been seeing these signs stand up a little longer than they were previously.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then another way you can tell is by decreasing list price. Let's, if how many situations have you seen currently in the last 6 to 8 months where you've been decreasing list prices, but their majority people have been paying over list price.
Right.
And so
Exactly.
that's a way to tell if things are
Right.
changing, adjusting, and that's all over the country.
All over the
You can
country.
tell. You can tell by just looking at those factors.
I got a kind of question for Roz and for Marcus.
Mm-hmm.
If you had to put a percentage on, like you said, it's going down, like say a smidge. I want to hear from both of you guys from your expertise. Roz, from a real estate standpoint, you see we have, like I said, I see these signs stay up a little longer than before. Maybe the prices are going down some. Is it 5%, 3%, 20%? What have you seen?
I'm glad you asked that question because I'm particularly studying a specific neighborhood, actually a couple of neighborhoods, because I have a couple of listings coming, and it appears that we are seeing adjustments at least 5%. I've seen 5 to 7.
Mhm.
And that could be a thing of, hey, rates are increasing. That could have some effect there,
It does.
but but that's the raw data. If you're looking at listings and you're looking at if prices are adjusted and how often they're being adjusted, because
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's the big factor there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
but
I want to piggyback off of that because
yeah.
just think about it. It's that, when the pool gets smaller, when your interest rates are up, the person that may have qualified for 500,000 may not qualify because of the rates now. So your pool
Yeah.
is getting smaller, and
Yeah.
so now the seller is going to have to make a decision whether or not how long I want this home to stay on this market. So
Yeah.
do I need to reduce the sales price, or do I need not to list it as high as I would have a month
That
ago?
part.
Yes, because so I think the pool is getting smaller because it's eliminating some of the buyers who can no longer qualify when they did with the 3.2 and 3% interest rate.
Yeah, and totally. Even in Chris's world too,
Mm-hmm.
insurance. When you take in PITI, you
Yeah.
know, uh,
Mm-hmm.
and rates are going up, and with everything included, with insurance, your payment, interest, everything, sometimes people may not qualify depending on how the market is adjusting. So,
Yeah.
it's kind of.
Yeah, there was an article. I think it was Yahoo or I think it was Yahoo, CNN. One of those articles said that the market was definitely shifting in that a lot of buyers are canceling and terminating their contracts. So it went on to say that because of the acceleration and increase of those interest rates, they're either being priced out or having to bring more money to the table, or that payment is just too much. Then there are some who are canceling because they are not certain about their job stability.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I do want to say one thing on the flip to that is, I'm taking buyers out now where homes that we saw last week are still available. So the
Mm-hmm.
number of days on the market is extending.
That's true.
Yeah, and we don't see nearly as many multiple offers. So for those buyers who are out there that says, "Hey, this is my time." This is the time to get out there if you are going to buy, because you're getting a little bit more inventory, meaning pick of the litter, because some sellers are now like reacting. It's like, wow, am I going to continue to get these double digit ROI on the market value, and if this time next year I can't, let's sell now. So we're getting some sellers to really put their house on the market and not absorbently overprice them. So yeah, I do see that.
I think some people were actually, you heard me say before, have kind of been excited that rates have gone up because you said in this market, people are overpaying anyway. So, for some people's eyes, they were kind of glad when the interest rates went up because it kind of knocked some of the competition out. Like you said, now they got a bigger pool to choose from. And, depending on the industry you're in, say cash is king. But the thing is, when things are bad for interest rates going up, but if you got the money, this is, like you said, this is the perfect time because now you got somewhat a pick of the litter that you're dealing with. So that's what's kind of neat for some people when you have these situations arise.
And then in the DFW market, a lot of people are paying cash over the past year, pricing out your first time home buyer, And so I think now it's kind of becoming more stabilized where, that first time home buyer that is coming with that mortgage loan is having a little bit more, probably great opportunity than they would the past year or two, because, it's just a lot of people are, you probably know, accepting cash offers, I think.
I have a scenario for you, Marcus. So if you get a contract and a home to go appraise, that contract price is 50,000 more than the list price. As an appraiser, I know you're going to try to find comp to support a price. Which price are you looking at? The list price or the contract price?
Neither price. So in this thing of valuations, appraising, it's an opinion of value. And so it's impartial, and so you're not looking at prices. You're looking at what this home is worth. And whatever it falls into, if it's falls into not meeting the contract price or not meeting the list price, it is what it is.
So
And
that
so
number on the contract, it's arbitrary to you. It don't mean anything.
it doesn't mean anything. It shouldn't mean anything to any appraiser. You're just trying to find the most probable price this home will sell for in a today's market. And that's the only thing you're looking for. And so this is an unbiased thing that people that do appraisals are in. You're not looking at prices. You're looking at what is this home worth, and you take all the bias out of whatever the realtor and homeowner are doing, whatever the realtor and seller are doing, just trying to find the most probable price this property is worth. And whatever it is what it is.
It's funny you say that because in the insurance industry, I've seen that happen with several customers where they were, actually wrote a policy for the house, and then they called me back a little later, or the mortgage company, they said that people didn't go through with the house. And the reason they didn't go through with the house was for the mere fact what he just said. You had the list price and all that other stuff, but the appraiser said I was gonna make up a number. The appraiser said they said it was 550. The appraiser said it was 450. And they're like, it's a wrap, we're not gonna do it. So I've seen some people and they'll go back and look for another, home that's gonna, suit the needs or try to meet the criteria that they're looking for.
And this is why, we make the world go round, because let's just be real, that industry, you can, a person can go find their dream home, person go get a low rate with Rhonda, go get that house with Roz. But if you don't have the value, you don't have nothing. You don't have no deal. And so
it's a nightmare.
That's why, I'm very just passionate about this industry because, you take everything outside of, the deal. You're just trying to find what you're trying to investigate on what this is. What is this value? What's this home worth? If you take all the opinions out of everybody, and so that's why this industry is so important, and it's been so important, as long as people have been buying and selling houses, because we come in there and give you what it really is, and we're trying to do so.
Right. Well, what, while we're on that subject, and I was just thinking about, a lender, when I have a seller agent ask me to do an ROV or go with the, reconsideration of value. And what is your take on that? Because I've heard from different appraisers that, if I give you all the opportunity to give me your comps up front, if they had a new roof, if they had any additions, I'm giving you all of this time to do it up front before I'm writing my report or before I go out there with my property. And when you get back, I'm not going to do too much. I'm not going to do too much with the ROV. What is your take on that? How do you feel about that? And what happens when you receive a reconsideration of value?
Well, um, you know, I feel like a lot of people in the appraisal industry, we're tasked to give a number, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And so it's an opinion, and whatever that opinion is, 9 times out of 10 they have supported their opinion, and
Yeah.
a lot of times I think a lot of appraisals don't really reconsider a lot of things
Yeah.
unless it's something that, hey,
I missed something I missed. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and the reason why is because appraisers have to keep work files for a certain amount of years, and so if something ever happened to that deal, and they have to go into the court of law and talk about that appraisal, they got to be able to justify themselves. So that's why you see a lot of stuff not reconsidered, or that's what it is. They have to. They know that they have to justify their value, and whatever that number is, they have deemed is justifiable, and that's it.
Hey,
I agree. I haven't seen many
look. This leads me to my next few questions. Y'all give me two.
Okay.
So
1.5.
Are you okay? 1.5. I'll take that. Are you seeing a lot of discrepancy, especially in the fast appreciation, or what we feel is fast appreciation of value in the new construction industry? I've seen a lot of builders scrape and scrap for comps to support. I don't know if they're trying to come up with, that deficit to control their material costs, but some of them are not making value.
And I'll tell you why.
Okay.
So in new construction, the main thing is quality and condition. There are different builders out here that build with different, quality and quality materials. And so basically appraisers, on our appraisal report, there are certain designations for quality and condition. And so there's an area where, not every builder builds the same. Not every builder uses the same materials. Not every builder is, just to give you a, a little open window of it, you have a Toyota here, or you may have a Toyota builder, but here's a Cadillac builder, so it's just like, it's not all the same, and so, but where the main thing is quality and condition of that property, and appraisers are deemed to, recognize that even though it may be a new house that they're comparing it to, the quality may not be, it may be a difference in quality, so.
Marcus, my next question is, and we're going to get to the elephant in the room, because, we had a Realtist week where Mr. Austin came from California, and he gave us some really shocking statistics about, some disparity and things that are still going on in our community and in our real estate world that, it's hard to hear, but we suppose it is true. And I don't know if you're able to validate or invalidate it, but before I get to that question,
Ross, it's not going to be 3 questions now.
Yeah, you're limit now.
Okay, all right.
No, I'm just kidding, Rob. No, you got some good questions. I'm just kidding, sweetie.
Well, let's jump into it. Let's just get right on in. Get in there, like the wobble. Get in there. So, Marcus, are appraisers really biased on appraisers where the homeowner is Black?
Well, I would just say this. It's an opinion of value, right? And how you really can just, you know, it's really hard to just tell if somebody is having some type of, mindset because of, the color of a homeowner, or it's really hard to tell, but you can just see it in the report though. I tell people, I don't think, I think it may be a little bit of both, I, maybe some malintent there, but then, hey, some people may just miss some things. And, I just feel like it all boils down to the report. You can see everything in that report. If somebody gets another appraisal done and things are different, hey, the report tells you. And so what I think the issue is hey, it's a lack of diversity in the industry, and it's also a lot of people just don't know where to go if they do feel like their value is misrepresented. So I think it's a little bit of just both things there. You never really can tell, how a person is, doing this job, but you can tell it in the report. Everything boils down to that report. And, if some things are missed or some things that don't look right, you know, that's why I'm preaching appraisal education, to kind of help people understand what's on the report, how to look at it. And if you feel like something's not adding up, where to go to see where to go. And so I just feel like there's a lack of diversity in the industry, which if it was more, diverse, more included, maybe you may not see a lot of things of misrepresentation of value. So
Yeah, and that's when you were saying that, since you skate around that question, I'm going to ask you this: how about, do you think, because Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac has allowed desktop appraisals, do you think that is a tool that possibly eliminates some of the personal opinions, we can say, under hidden bias, versus just a regular appraisal? Do you think, or do you think it's going to make it's worth to
Rhonda,
be able to
clarify
do
this.
hidden bias?
Clarify that for our audience. Desktop appraisals.
Huh?
Clarify that for our
Desktop under,
audience.
oh, they're actually not an actual appraiser going out, but they're looking at taxes from the from CAD, as well as just looking at comps in the area without a physical body going out to view the property.
um, yeah, I mean, I think the industry is recognizing, there may be some issues there, with values, but um, you know,
Marshall's
I
on one
feel
test.
like I feel like you don't want to do anything on the report because you're liable for that report if something ever goes wrong on that deal. And if it's a federally mortgage related transaction, whoever can go back and look at that report because it was some type of transaction made on that thing and come after you if you didn't do the right thing. So it's really and ethics is really important in the appraisal industry. And so I feel like it doesn't make sense for anybody to do anything wrong on something that other people are using to lend to, and I just feel like if more people just really understood that, you probably wouldn't have a lot of mishaps on appraisal reports. Because, like I say, once you electronically sign that document and send it in, you're responsible for everything in there.
Yeah, but we know it exists, though. And that's the key. It exists. Yes, we all know ethics. We all know what we're supposed to do, but does it actually happen? And so, you're right. But we're dealing with human beings that have their own opinion about a lot of things.
It's going to be a double-edged sword too. I like the fact what you said about the desktop, appraisals. Because it's transparency. You can't see a person or whatever. However, on the other hand, like you said, it's like ethics involved. But if somebody's, I guess, like you say, pencil whipping, a desk appraisal,
Mhm.
kind of like these Airbnb. Sometimes some people sign for the Airbnb. It's all beautiful on the, all on the camera on the website. And then you get there like, what the,
You were like, what?
what
Did
the,
I sign up for this?
what the
Yeah.
heck is this? This ain't what I saw in the picture. And that's the only thing it could be. I can see probably, sometimes with desk appraisal, somebody's not actually physically going out there and looking, but then it's good too. You take away that bias as well. So I
Yeah.
guess it has to be a combination of both. I guess
Mhm.
my, my humble opinion. I'm gonna switch gears and ask Marcus this question because with these appraisals going up or the rates going up on these houses, these taxes going up, do people reach out to you to do reports to try to refute, the taxes these counties are implementing because of the rising rates and of home prices? Do you do a appraisal write ups for people to refute that? Is that something you do?
I don't per se do that, but I am open to like people reaching out to me if they do have some appraisal questions or want to, get my opinion on an appraisal. I've done that in the past where somebody felt like their value was a little low, and I kind of helped them understand how to read the appraisal, and so that's what I kind of do with webinars and workshops. I kind of give my personal story if I got into the industry, but also helping you learn how to actually read the report because it's so important and it's so vital, to know not only pay Rhonda, that appraisal fee, but uh, to close on that loan, but to actually know what you just paid for, like
Mhm.
to actually understand a little bit about your market, not actually be an appraiser, but just know maybe
Know
the
what you're
top
looking
four
at.
things to look at,
Hmm. And
And
I would
so,
love, and I'm excited about the class that you teach them how to read the appraisal
Oh,
report. But as a
yes.
lender, when I find out when your next one, I'm going to be because it helps me to be able to educate the buyer as well when I receive the appraisal report back. So
Absolutely.
How does
I
Yeah.
want to jump in on that.
how's the DFW stacking up with other parts of the country as far as you see you go around the country? I'm just kind of curious, how is it in different parts of the country compared to here in the Metroplex, the DFW? Like I tell people all the time, you see sometimes like when Starbucks was shutting, stores down here in the DFW, they were building stores because this is a hotbed. We're not really dependent on one particular industry. So I think that's why we're more fervent and vibrant other than most other areas. But with that being said, how do we stack up against other parts of the country, like the Southeast, the Northeast, Midwest, and West Coast?
well, the thing is in DFW that's really special. There's no state taxes here, and so companies are moving their corporations here, which
Mm-hmm.
in your major cities which brings an influx of people. And just think about all the people in New York, Los Angeles that are finding out about the DFW market and never seen a $400,000, $500,000 house in their life. And so that will bring in, influx of people plus the jobs, and so when you have major corporations move their home offices to DFW and the real estate prices, and that's directly why you see people trying to list above what would be a typical price because the demand is there. And so
Yeah.
when the demand is there because of what's going on in the city, community, state, it just blows everything and it gets crazy. And so I just think DFW is definitely one of your top major markets for real estate, business, and all types of, just economy, just one of the top economies here.
I am often asked, hey, are we going to experience a crash here in DFW? I the conditions are just not the same in terms of my opinion now. They're not the same as they were back in 2007 and 8. I mean, just like you're saying, Texas is a leader in job creation. And let's talk about inventory. There was way more inventory, too much inventory in 2007 and 8, and people couldn't find work and they were being laid off. Well, the flip to that is, hey, yeah, there are some companies laying off, having freezes. I get that, but we're not so much impacted in this industry, not in DFW by that. But I would just say this: if you look at year over year, we still are down at least 50% in terms of units. We still don't have enough inventory. So, I mean, when you look at the big picture, I know the immediate response to the interest rate and, oh, are we in a recession and this is inflation, has kind of caused some people to scurry and panic a little bit. But you look at the big picture and it's like, no, we're still thriving. That's my opinion.
Yeah. And so, just hitting on that for a minute, if you look at the DFW market, you look at the average median price for a property, it's really good if you compare it across the country. And so, but if you look at a California median price point, a New York median price point, even if you have defaults on mortgages, people lose their jobs, foreclosures, or whatnot, you're not defaulting on millions like you are would be in like a larger market like California and New York. In DFW, you're defaulting on hundreds of thousands, which is more recoupable. You can kind of, you can kind of recuperate quicker and faster because you're not at a large price point, in a property. So I just think the DFW market is just amazing and awesome because you got the economy, you got the jobs, but then the price point on properties is salvageable, even if you do have some missteps in the community or a downturn.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I got a question for the three of y'all again, for all three of you. I know, Raj, you said the market is correcting itself, and to me, 5% don't sound like it's corrected itself because I know homes like some of these houses that were maybe $500,000 3, 4, 5 years ago going up for $1 million. So that don't sound like it's a lot of correction. So that ain't even correct. That sounds like that's just a stretch. So
think about this. Think about this though, Chris. Some homeowners were getting, I kid you not, 12, 15, 17% above list price.
Exactly. But I thought even some of these I'm gonna cut you off again though. Above list price, but I thought those list prices, with them even paying over that, was extremely exorbitantly high.
Well, they were priced at the top. Some sellers had priced their home what I perceive above market. And they were still saying, here's my 50, here, look, just like having the Empire State Building. That's where they priced it. And then they said, now I want you to jump higher than that. So I believe I hear what you're saying. So it's even 5% correcting. Just say it's heading in the right direction.
But it's making a downturn.
So Rhonda, how's that affecting your industry? What are you seeing because of that?
Well, more contracts are being accepted. It's like everybody's not in the same,
good,
in the same pool trying to take a swim now. So you're seeing more contracts being accepted, which is a really great thing because it seemed like even a month ago, it was like, oh my goodness,
right.
But I think like Ross said, it's taking a turn. It's starting to stabilize, come down some. So it's not where it needs to be. That's in my opinion, but it is. We're seeing it turn. We're seeing it going around the curve. Making a turn.
It's not turning like this. It's kind of turning like.
Well, here's where I would say we are making a real turn, like a Cadillac turn. You know what that is, Chris, don't you? Don't you know what that is?
That's a deuce and a quarter. That's a deuce and a quarter.
You got to cut the music down first. Okay.
Is when A, sellers take a price reduction. B, pay closing costs.
That's when it takes
pay for a home warranty.
Right? I'm looking for those days. Roz, especially when the seller's going to offer seller's credit.
Oh. It's shouting time. We see seller credits.
Yes, but it's starting to take a turn.
I have one more question, Mr. Marcus, and then we want you to talk about all the wonderful things that you're doing to support the community and educate. And we want to hear from you in terms of how people can hear from you and get in contact with you. So FSBOs, for sale by owners, do you use those comparables?
Well, I mean, a sale is a sale. It may FSBO may not be the most comparable property to that property. It may be though, you know, and so that's the joy of being in the appraisal industry, because you get to select what you deem as the best comp for that particular property that you're appraising. So, you know, it just kind of depends, you know, but a lot of times, you know, you want to stay around arm's length transactions. You know, sometimes when you
What is that for the audience that doesn't know?
okay, so arm's length, you can correct me if but if, in my opinion, is when, you know, nobody knows each other. It's just like a sale that happened where, you know, no family involved, nobody has any kind of relation to one another. It's just a property that somebody wanted, and it's sold to, just like regular. Did I do okay?
That's it. Yeah.
Okay. But no. So, you know, it may not be the best comp, but it may be. You know, it's just that whatever the appraiser deems.
So you could use them if they're not in MLS. You could use it.
You know, a lot of markets, people use county records to see what's sold for, and the MLS in some markets. So, but and that's great because you're trying to find the most probable price, the highest that property can sell for, the most high sale that's comparable. And so using all tools is just doing your due diligence, which is really heavy in the appraisal industry.
Wow, wow. Oh, and typically in a mile radius, how far do you usually go comparable? Is it how many miles is that?
Uh,
Comparable?
well, it just depends because
Okay.
it depends on the appraiser and the property where it's located. You
Okay.
know, if you're in an urban area, more likely, urban area, a pretty good market area, you typically, you know, looking at around a mile radius. But it just depends on whatever the appraiser
Mm.
deems uh, to where he has to feel like, hey, I need to go outside of some parameters
Mhm.
because of this particular style of property or this particular property. And so
Okay.
it's all deemed by the appraiser and justified. So
So,
whatever they may do, they're going to put a little burb in there to why they did what they did. And
Marcus, are there appraisers that are coming miles, like 50? Look, probably 2 or 3 hours away to evaluate properties they have no, I guess, history. I mean, is that even relevant? Because I know in our industry, one of the things that define competency is geographically, you supposed to know your stuff in the area. Like you're supposed to be competent in the areas that you serve. Does it even apply for appraisers, or you can come from California and appraise a Plano property?
competency, being competent is one of the major part of being in the appraisal industry. And before an appraiser accepts an order, he has to deem himself competent to complete that case. The first rule in appraising is identify the problem. And so, with identifying the problem, you have to make sure you're competent enough to complete this assignment. You know, and so appraisal training. Once you learn it, once you get licensed to do it, you literally, it doesn't really change much. The property, the area changes much. So a lot of people have competency, can be competent enough to appraise in a market that they haven't appraised before, but they have to deem themselves confident. And, you know, I myself was very young when I started my appraisal company. And so I always made sure that I was competent enough to complete that assignment, or if I didn't, hey, I may not want to, take on that task. And so that's the thing in appraising. Everything can always come back to you. And so if something happens in a deal and you wasn't competent enough to do that in the first place, boom, there, that's not, it's not good. And so I just want to give you the insight, the mindset of people that in the valuation space. Hey, you got to deem yourself competent enough to complete the assignment of whatever property they're going to appraise.
Awesome. Well, I tell you, you've done an amazing job. Definitely enlightened us. I feel like I'm gonna be a better broker because of you, Mr. Marcus. Yes.
Hey, that's what I strive to do, is to help educate, help maybe talk about some things that you don't really hear about, and so and
Mhm.
just using my
Your
years
gift.
of experience and my life to do that. So,
Awesome. Well, tell people how they can reach you and how to connect with you.
sure. So I'm on Instagram at Ask Marcus Hill, AskMarcusHill. You can go to askmarcushill.com. I'm on LinkedIn at Marcus Hill, and on Facebook as well at Ask Marcus Hill and Marcus Hill. And so I'm on most of the platforms. What I'm very passionate about is to help increase awareness around the appraisal industry. There's some crazy numbers out there that shows that you know based on a 2019 study, there's less than 1% of people under the age of 25 in the appraisal industry. And I got started at 24, in 2005. And so it's very passionate to me to change those numbers to help our youth understand what this is, help adults understand the differences between appraisals and home inspections. I know you guys get that, right?
Yeah, all the time.
so,
Oh, I
so,
just got one of those.
so definitely you can reach out to me and I will come do a seminar, workshop. I do keynote talks. I'm a part of conferences. I'm a part of the Run Conference in Dallas, Texas, this
Awesome.
Friday, this weekend. And so definitely reach out to me. I would love to, talk and about how I can support your conference, your school, your nonprofit. I do things for the youth as well. Just did a 2-hour workshop for a nonprofit in Fort Worth, Texas, where I talked about the home, renting versus home ownership for teens and the home buying process for teens. So helping them understand, right at that 17, 18 age, are there options that they have, and also helping them understand who they're going to encounter in the home buying process. So I'm just very passionate about, just partying and showing all these things that I learned so at a young age, and just would love to support. And I also speak at broker companies, and so around topics that agents could, be could maybe enlighten themselves,
Yes, absolutely.
And so, but yeah, so please reach out to me, and would love to support.
We're gonna do
Absolutely.
our round robin. We go ahead and do our round robin. Rhonda, go ahead.
Okay. Thank you, Marcus, for all that good, like the good education. Okay. But my name is Rhonda Hutchison. I'm the Loan Lioness. I'm a residential mortgage lender. Please reach out to me if you have any questions about lending, from all the loan products, what kind of programs we have for first time home buyers. If there's anything, look, like we all say, I have a plethora of information.
Hurrah.
Plethora. So give me a call at 214-856-3747. That's 214-856-3747. Mr.
And
Chris?
I'm Chris Ziegler with the Ziegler Agency Allstate, located in Frisco, Texas. Here to take care of all your insurance needs, your home, your auto, your commercial, your business needs, and your financial products. I can be reached at 214-870-4269. And Bronze, go ahead and close us out.
Yes, and first and foremost, I'd just like to again thank you, Marcus, for all of the wonderful nuggets to use to help empower our journey to help others in
What
home
she said.
ownership. And we'd like to say hello and thank you to Miss Laura Washington, our president, for allowing us to be here on this NAREB
Laura.
platform. Look, come back and visit with us every second and fourth Tuesday at high noon, 12 noon Central Standard Time. We say it's an hour of power. And I'm Roz Booker, Ask Roz B. I'm the principal broker, CEO of Our Brook Realty, and the director of Our Brook Cares, which is our 501c3. Ultimately, we help people birth dreams and build legacies in real estate, and we educate and empower to help renters to become homeowners. And if we'd like to partner with you, give us a call at 972-996-4702. And until next time, see you later.
All right. Be blessed.
Bye.
Bye bye.